Hey everyone, Kurgasa here. For today, we're going to talk about this week's update for PSO2 NGS, and there's actually quite a bit going on. We have a new seasonal event that has a ton of rewards to get, a new collab, as well as new augments to hunt down. But starting off with that seasonal event, we have the Christmas 23 event. That'll go for the rest of December, and then there'll be other seasonal events kind of combined with this one going into the rest of January. But with this, we have number of different things. We have an event store where you can get those seasonal points per usual, and inside that with Z-Tray here, there's actually a ton of good rewards to actually go after. We have a new special scratch, the Winter 23-24 special scratch that we'll talk about later, some new build parts and other accessories and whatnot, star gems, a new weapon, the Variocool series. This is our first 9-star seasonal weapon. It's actually pretty good as a baseline and changes up the potential as well as the season augment. So for this, the seasonal potential here is 29% potency, 10% damage resistance, minus 10% PP consumption, and 10% increased photon blast gauge charge when attacking. So a good all-arounder potential, even better than the last one that we've had. But with the season, they changed this up quite a bit. It's 3% potency, which applies to all enemies, not just seasonal, so you can actually use this outside of the seasonal event once it's done. And then this applies to the Christmas 23, the New Year 24, and the Winter 24, all those seasonal events combined like I talked about. But then for the seasonal enemies exclusively, you get 5% potency against them, 15% critical hit rate, as well as 20% damage resistance once attacked by them. So as always, this season is good for the seasonal event. But if we compare it to the previous seasons with Branaga here, with its Season Halphinale for the Halloween event, it gave 20% potency and 35% critical hit rate, which is a lot better than this one. So what this means for Variocool for this seasonal event is that you actually might not even want to use it depending on what you have. If you already have a Flugelguard, that's just going to sort of beat this even with its Season here. And if you have a very good upgraded like Dasa, Melik, or any other 9-star pretty much, you won't even use this. Pretty much if you're using an Argenti weapon still, that freebie that they gave us not too long ago, or if you don't have as much of an upgraded like Melik or Verschmelz, like you don't have like a Thixa on it or a very high Thixa, then you might consider using this for this seasonal event going into January. To back up what I'm saying here, at plus 80 for these weapons, the Variocool is 1034, the majority of the 9 and 10 stars are going to be higher than that, except for that Argenti series. But it's just by a few points. But if we look at the potentials as well, that season change unit, as we saw, was 29% potency. But like these others, for certain potentials, 34% on Melik, 36% on Dasa. This has negative potency for Verschmelz, but it does have the 100% crit rate, so that kind of makes up for that. And the Flugelguard has 37% in addition to its support effects from Photon Blast. So just with that combined, it's just hard to use the Variocool for the seasonal event, because these just already have higher attack power and higher potency. So that one says an augment, because it's been reduced so much, isn't really going to make up that difference. In short, I wouldn't really recommend using the Variocool weapon, because the Flugelguard is going to beat it out if it's upgraded the same, minus the says an augment, like just every time. But with these others, they could be beaten out, but only by like a little bit. With Argenti, it sure is getting beaten out, but would you really invest the resources into a Variocool to upgrade it? And you could instead just get one of these and upgrade that. That will last you forever instead of this Variocool, which is kind of time limited. So pretty much just don't use it unless, I don't know, you really just want that little bit of extra difference. You're going to be farming the seasonal event a lot, and you don't have this. I guess just the one saving grace if you're really strapped for Meseta is that these are pre-upgraded quite nice. Got the potential level 6, got limit broken to 80, so you don't have to mess around with that. And they have some decent augments inside, but you probably would replace them with like LC augments, which are easier than ever to get. But moving on with the rest of the shop, we have these armors in here. I don't really see much of a point of getting the Ajax armor right now, because we're given new freebie armor at level 65 from the Super Genesis Festival event that's been going on this month, where that is just upgraded to plus 80, has better augments inside. It's just really good where you wouldn't necessarily want to grab this. But if you're a newer player just starting out, getting these at level 10 can be massive for, you know, potency and whatnot. And then getting the Sustatos is the same thing at level 42. You'd probably grab those as milestones leading up to that freebie level 65. I wouldn't really bother with this right now. Other things, there's materials and stuff just for a whole bunch of different things. Growth mint, dread scales you can exchange for. A master cubes inside as well, used for add-on skill generation to guarantee level 20s. Other materials, the TA customization disc for the tech customization, which is very nice. Has all the different kinds, even the Omni disc, which you get 3 of. Definitely augments for all of the different dual quest phases, dual 1, 2, and 3. LC augments in here, but LC augments are really easy to get right now too, so I guess it's just extra on top if you want to. It does not include, at least currently, the new LCs, Grand Keeper LC and the High Ret Domina. Only the previous ones from August and whatnot. Then there's just like other augments here that you can grab and use up for other things. Gold prims, which is pretty nice. Alpha reactors, all that good stuff. Next, let's talk about this special scratch that came with the event, the Winter 23-24. For this, unfortunately, it seems like a lot of the items, if you've been playing for a while, you might already have. So a lot of these are from previous mission passes, so like the outfits, the cast parts, as well as the majority of accessories, the mag forms, and stamps, all have been in the game before, so you may already have them. But if you missed out, you can clean up on those. And there are some new things as well. This Autorica backpack, I think this music disc is new, and then all of the camos up top. Some of these you might recognize from before, but these are color variant versions instead of just regular versions. They have a little bit of a different color to them, and apply that color to photon art effects. If you don't care about any of the cosmetics in this though, you still can benefit from getting these success rate boosters, as well as star gems to use on other things. If you want to get more tickets for this special scratch though, there is a way besides the seasonal shop. There is a new LTQ, or limited time quest, that you can do called a gift from Benefan. If you do this once a day, there's a daily that gives you 1 guaranteed ticket, and if you do this for the first time, you get 10 of those special scratch tickets. There is also a chance to get the tickets from drops themselves on this quest, but I wouldn't really rely on that. For other rewards that you can get out of this though, you can get the Guard weapons to drop, I believe the PSO2, the Octo Armor variants, the Arga, Belta, and Sheza, Arms Refiners, LC Augments, Growth Mints, Giga Strongments, a whole bunch of variety of things, which sounds nice, but when you actually do the quest, it doesn't really feel that good. The reason why I say this is because how the quest is designed. You go in there with up to 4 players, you need a battle power of 3649, which is honestly pretty low. You should be able to easily obtain it with 3B gear. But for the quest, you got to do trial after trial, up to 5 of them, and every one that you complete, you get a gift box at the end of that trial, which gives rewards for the end once you complete the whole thing. But you can also fail some of these trials, which gives you absolutely nothing for that section. So as long as you complete every single one, you can actually get a decent spread of rewards. Of course, some of those rewards are just super RNG, which you may not get, like Guard and those Octo Armors, but you do get a decent amount of all those little materials. But as you lose more and more, it's going to be not really worth it, considering it's at least like a 10-minute quest. Some of the trials are super easy, like killing just a few enemies, and that's pretty much it. But then there's also a couple that are a little bit more difficult, like completing a truck trial, trying to defend that truck against a whole bunch of enemies that spawn around it. And if you just aren't paying attention or not killing them fast enough, that truck can go by just like that. There's also another room where you have to face multiple Gigantics enemies, which include a couple of bosses. And you get limited lives in this section, I think about 6. So if you die too much, or even your party members die too much, you just lose that section and get no rewards for it. So because it's a decent length quest, and because you can fail some of the sections and get way less rewards, I just don't know if it's really worth to just continuously farm outside of getting that daily ticket. Because there's actually a way better farm that also got introduced with this event. What I'm talking about is Rappy spots returning to the Retem region. This is where you kill dread enemies with special task markers that are like little rainbows, and you have a chance of spawning Emperor Rappies, but also this time, captains and even king captains, which is a new enemy. You can do this in any of the exploration zones in Retem, except for the Roof Maquad area. They can do it in central, south, west, and north. It's all very good. There is a difference between the different regions though. In central and west, it's their original levels of around 30 some, but if you go to north and south, the veterans actually got buffed up in level to 82. These higher Dread enemies can actually give Dread scales, as well as up to Dread Keeper 5. And then with all of the Emperor Rappies and the Captains, they can give a whole bunch of different materials, like quest triggers, tech customization discs, Mastery 4s, LC augments, all of that kind of stuff. And with the King Captain, can actually give a new augment called Foundia. This augment on its own isn't really that special, it's just 1% potency, so you wouldn't really use it that way, but you can actually exchange it for something in the item lab, which is also new. If we take a look inside an augment capsule exchange, you'll see a Lux Halphinale. This is the new best augment in the game. It gives 5% potency, 20 HP, and 6 photon power. Pretty much just a better version of Halphinale. But it does take 5 Halphinales and 10 Foundia to make this thing. And this just makes one of these Lux Halphinale, which is a 7% success rate augment. So if you want an actual decent chance to put this onto your gear, you're gonna need a lot of those Halphinales and all the materials to make those Halphinales, like Dominas and Aegis Souls. So this is going to be a very expensive augment to make, and pretty much right now this is going to be more of a whale territory augment, or people that only care about min-maxing their gear. I wouldn't really say this is anything for like a normal casual player at all. Even some veteran players that are decently geared probably won't really look at this until quite a while, where Halphinale just becomes easier to make or just drops straight up. But the Halphinale is really the only bad part about this. The Foundia is pretty easy. As mentioned before, just killing those King Captains that spawn in those Rappy spots gives about 1 to 3 every kill. But as a permanent way of getting these, you can kill Gigantic's Starless bosses, which currently only spawn during storms. So right now, killing the King Captain's the better option, but you may have to do that instead at a later point. But you can also sell and buy these out of the player market. So it should be pretty easy to obtain for now and even into the future. There are other new augments as well to consider with this update. We've had Deafness 4 for a while, but in the same vein, we have now gotten Guard 4, Spirit 4, and Stamina 4, which have been dropping from these captains. There isn't really much you can do with these right now from what I've seen, because, I mean, just 20 HP or 6 photon power and 3% damage distance isn't going to do much on its own. And it doesn't seem like there's any combination capsule in the item lab at the moment, but I do expect something in the future, like maybe taking these 4s to combine with like Might 4s or Technique 4s and Precision 4s to make some new combination augment. Or maybe something else in the future where you have to do like a dual quest phase 4 to then use these to combine with something else coming from that. Moving on to the next thing, but it's also related to killing captains, there's a new daily for this seasonal event where once you kill one each day, you can get a reward box medal December 23. This is for a new system or concept in the game called Reward Box. You can find this in the Task Quests menu, and once you get a medal, you can actually play on this for it, and it gives you one of the items out of this box. But once you get that item, you can't get it again. So you don't get like a whole bunch of duplicates like you do with regular scratch tickets. And if you just keep getting medals, you'll eventually get everything out of this box. For the rewards in the current box, it seems like some of these have already been given to us in NGS, either through like keywords or events and mission passes and whatnot. But the vast majority of these are from base games. Some of them AC items, and some of them even fun scratch items. So some of you might have some of those if you've played years ago. But I think for a good amount of you, you would not have these items. But yeah, you just need 40 medals to get the whole thing. It expires on January 30th, so I imagine that's when the whole event stuff is done. So that means you got plenty of time to get all of these. It also seems like at the top here, it says Step 1 in progress. When I click on it, it does show like a little menu, but that's the only thing there. So I don't know for this particular reward box if this would happen, but maybe if you complete boxes in the future that have multiple steps, like once you complete the first step, it moves you on to the next box, and then maybe even another box after that. But that's just a guess based on what it shows here. Starting this week as well, we have a new collab with Black Lagoon. This is an anime from a long time ago, but I think recently, at least in Japan, there's some new manga that came out for it, like either a spin-off or something. That's probably why we have a collab for it right now. But in NGS, there's a login bonus where if you log in up to 7 days during this collab, you can get some build parts for your creative space, as well as like star gems and genesis points. And with this, there's also a AC Scratched, where you can spend real money to get different items from the characters, like weapon camos and their outfits, to use in-game. What's good about this scratch is for this collab, it's all Black Lagoon items. There's no like NGS filler from like some previous collabs where it just had NGS items inside. But yeah, build parts galore, backdrops, portable holograms, stamps, accessories, all that stuff. Yeah, some of this is probably going to be quite expensive to get. Yeah, like 10 mil Masetta for some of the weapon camos. I imagine the hairs are quite expensive. The only thing that I wouldn't be is like the male outfits, like per usual. I know some people had questions about like the V2 versus the regular, because it seems like there's like no difference. I think the difference for those is just like what ornaments you can hide or display. Like the guns maybe can hide on the regular, but maybe like the V2 you can like hide the boots or something like that. If you do plan on scratching this, there is a nice bonus at 40 times. We get the Red Fraction song as a music disc to use in-game. Unfortunately, for those that don't usually scratch, you can't get this one because it's not tradable in the personal shop. You do have to scratch for it yourself. Other little things going on this week, there is a super pre-announced Urgent Quests and Boosts campaign. This is tied to the Super Genesis Festival going on. And then with this, for this week only, all Urgent Quests have 100% RDR, 100% drop item preset skill rate, can be done twice instead of once, and all of the enemies inside Urgent Quest have their HP reduced by 30%, so you can do it even faster. But yeah, there's a schedule for all this. I'll probably post it in the description down below if you want to check it out for yourself. And then also during this week, there will be Premium PSO2 Day. They changed it up a little bit, actually. The time frame is the same as before, where it's like a couple of days from the 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern to 7 a.m. Eastern on the 23rd. Same boost, 20% experience earned and 50% RDR for premium users. But what they changed is the limited time task. Instead of just getting yellow triggers, which were pretty much super easy to get anyways, they changed it to where you can get up to 20 star gems for these limited time tasks instead. And what's nice about that, it is given to all players. You don't need premium, even if it's during the premium PSO2 day. But then also just for like logging in during this period, you get an extra 50 star gems and 2 special scratch tickets. That's pretty much everything for like the update that happened this week. But for later in the week, there is a new NGS headline coming up, which should be actually pretty big. I don't think the stuff happening that's going to show for like January is going to be super huge, because a lot of it's just going to be more of the seasonal event that we kind of saw already going to the 30th. So that's going to be all of January. But what it's going to show besides that is actually going to be pretty interesting. It's going to show a new roadmap for the first half of 2024, and also a sneak peek of some footage of things currently in development. What I believe that to be is probably the new region that they talked about in the operation report from before. So maybe we'll actually get an idea of where we're going to in the future. Let me know what you guys think it could be, as well as what you think of this entire week's update as a whole. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.